Now, Parashara, the text is much nicer. It's very in order. From Kārakāṁśa Lagna, from second from Kārakāṁśa, from third, from fourth, from fifth, from sixth. He very clearly defined. Jaimini's all over the place. Mm-hmm. But same verses are there. Okay. Same verses. But second house from Kārakāṁśa.
Okay. Effects of the second from Kārakāṁśa. If the second house from the Kārakāṁśa is in the divisions of Venus or Mars, the native will be traverser of others' wives. And if these two, Venus and Mars, have their aspect on it, the second house, this addiction will last until death.
Okay. So this was a verse, it's actually being repeated here slightly from before. Right here is the only place where Jaimini adds a verse. This is the only additional verse that Jaimini adds, just before this verse. So, Jaimini, you're 1-239.
Okay. Mercury conjoining aspect in the 10th from Swamsa indicates results like Saturn in Swamsa.
So why would Mercury in the 10th be like Saturn in the Lagna of the Navamsha?
Why would Mercury in the 10th be?
Mercury in the 10th is like, he's saying Mercury in the 10th is like Saturn in the Lagna. Okay, so let's take the days of the week and list them out. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Rahu, Ketu. Okay?
Saturday's Rahu Ketu?
Yeah, no. You have Saturday, then Sunday, Sun, Monday, Moon, Tuesday, Mars, Wednesday, Mercury, Thursday, Jupiter, Friday, Venus, Saturday, Saturn, then Rahu, Ketu. You make that list. Now look at Mercury. Mercury in the 10th. 11th, we get the next day, Thursday. 12th, we get the next day, Friday.
The
Lagna?
first, Saturday.
Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
So Mercury in the 10th is like Saturn in the Lagna. So who has a planet in the 10th house in the Navamsha?
I do.
Okay, what do you have in the 10th
Jupiter?
house? Jupiter. So Jupiter in the 10th house of the Navamsha is like, so Jupiter,
Thursday,
Friday, Saturday,
Sunday. Sunday would be the Lagna in the Lagna.
no, Rahu. It's actually Rahu. So it's like, again, Rahu in the
Oh,
Lagna.
and I do have Rahu in the Lagna.
It's a double Rahu in the Lagna.
I really should be working on machines.
Can you explain to me?
Okay, well, let's see. He has, what do you have in the 10th house? K2.
K2.
So we have our list of the days of the week, right? Okay, so he has K2. So what day is after K2?
K will be 8.
K2 is the last day. So we start over with Sunday.
Okay.
So
1.
K2 in the 10th. Then next we got Sunday in the 11th.
Yeah. And then
Monday in the 12th.
And then Tuesday in the Alana.
And so that's Mars.
Mars.
So it's like, so his K2 in the 10th is like Mars in the Lagna.
I don't understand what you're doing with the days of the week and the houses.
The days of the week are the planets.
So you start counting from the planet.
This is Jaimini. The only rule he gives us is Mercury conjoining aspect in the 10th from the Swamsha indicates results like Saturn.
So like if I had Jupiter in the 10th house, that's Thursday, the next house would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
No, she has Jupiter too, so it's like Rahu in the ascendant.
Not in my Navamsha.
Yeah.
But so you'll count Saturday, Rahu, Ketu, and then start at Sunday again?
It's called Vara Chakra.
Okay.
It's the
so
Vara
it's 9
Chakra.
day. It's a 9
All
day
9.
cycle.
And so, how do you apply that? Like, for instance, like in my case, I have two. I have Saturn and Mars in the 10th. So if the Saturn ends up being Mars in the Lagna, and but because my Navamsha Lagna is Cancer, that will make my Mars debilitated there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it makes you emotionally more sensitive, right?
Okay. So do we interpret this in Dasha? Do in Dasha we look at that?
Yeah, and just your abilities. It gives you more Mars abilities. And what's Mercury? You said Mercury you have there?
No, Saturn and Mars in
Saturn
the 10th.
and Mars. So Mars, what does Mars end up being in the Lagna?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it will be Venus in the
So
month.
like Venus.
Venus
so-
in Cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
good.
So yeah, very good.
That's not bad.
So it makes you artistic and it gives you all kinds of other abilities.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because 10th is the work that we do. It's our work. So we get the
So
abilities of it.
that can give us like another layer of understanding.
Yeah. Now this is in Jaimini, it's not in Parashara.
Right.
This is a Jaimini rule given to us just by Jaimini. Maybe it got left out of this version. Maybe it was originally in here. Everything else is in here. Maybe someone inserted that. We don't know. So
But we can only do this from the 10th house, right?
that's
So far.
all it's given to
So
us
far.
from the 10th.
Okay.
Christy and I were drilling Guruji about doing it from the 9th and doing it from the 10th, the 11th house, and whether we could do the same way. And he didn't give us a straight answer, so we don't know. Now,
What page was that in Jaimini?
that was verse
That was
1
page
to
39.
39. Verse 1, chapter 1, Pada 2, verse 39. Okay, now the verse you just read us from Parashara talked about the connection of Mercury, of Mars and Venus on the second house from Swamsha. Now, Jaimini, go to verse 1 to 52. Jaimini starts jumping around.
Venus and Mars owning the second house from Swamsa produces passion and illicit relationships.
Keep going.
Venus or Mars joining, aspecting the second makes him passionate till the end of life.
Okay, and so Parashara, go ahead to the next.
Okay, let's see where. K2 in the second?
Mm-hmm.
K2 in the second from Kārakāṁśa in this situation will be a restriction on this tendency, while Jupiter in it will cause it.
Go ahead.
And Rahu in the second from Kārakāṁśa will destroy wealth.
Okay, Jaimini, keep going.
K2 associating with such a second house destroys this passion. Jupiter joining, aspecting the second makes the native excessively passionate and sensuous, provided Venus, Mars also influence.
Okay, and one more.
Rahu joining, aspecting the second causes the native to destroy all his wealth on account of his unbridled passion and licentious nature, provided Mars, Venus also influence.
Okay, so the basic rule. In the Navamsha, the seventh is your partner. Second house from that is what breaks the relationship, what causes problems in the relationship. Eighth house from that. So eighth house from the seventh is the second. So Venus, Mars connected to the second house creates illicit relationships. If K2's aspecting, it makes it so the person gives up that desire. If Jupiter is there, it increases it. Jupiter says, woo! Jupiter in illicit relationships, he's definitely not one to,
What if they're both there?
he's...
Antoine is there. Venus K2 in the second.
You have Venus K2.
No, Antoine.
Uh-huh.
Venus K2 in the second.
So he has the desire, but it
So it
stops
is.
because of the K2.
Mm-hmm.
And Rahu there makes it so it's on prostitutes and just like somebody who pays for sex and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But there has to be Mars and Venus. Now it can be Mars ruling the house with Venus aspecting. It can be Venus ruling the house with Mars aspecting. It could be Mars there with Venus aspecting. Any type of sambandha between Mars and Venus. But both Mars and Venus have to be connected to the house.
To the second house.
The stronger they're connected to that house, the more likely there's going to be illicit relationship.
Yeah. I have a chart here that I could confirm.
Uh-huh.
This person has a parivartana between Mars and Venus in the Rashi.
Uh-huh.
And in the Navamsha,
Mm-hmm.
Mars is in the second, in
Uh-huh.
the sign of Venus.
And the side of Venus,
And
that's
Venus
enough.
is, the parivartana
Yeah.
transfers.
Uh-huh.
And I know this person has gone to prostitutes a lot.
Okay.
And-
Is Rahu connected at all? They go to it because just that alone would be illicit relationships.
Oh,
For prostitutes, then there also has to be a Rahu connection
no,
in the
Rahu,
Navamsha.
Rahu is in the fourth, yeah. But I know for sure he went in the
Fourth,
first.
fourth house in the
Yes.
Navamsha.
Yeah.
So it's third from. Okay.
I mean, I know he
Yeah.
went.
Yeah. But the Rahu, if it's connected, the person wastes all their money.
Oh yeah, yeah. No.
On prostitutes, on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not that way.
Yeah. But so there we go. We see a combination right there. So if somebody's wondering whether their wife is cheating on them, or wondering whether their husband is cheating on them, we know the first place to look. Then second house of the Navamsha.
Venus in the second house from the...
Venus, Mars, connect to that second house.
Right.
But it's
Sambandha.
But it's from the Atmakaraka
Look more from the
or from
Navamsha.
the Navamsha.
Yeah.
What if Venus and Mars is in the 7th house of Navamsha?
That's different. That'll just make a very passionate wife. And most likely, as long as that second house is clean, then she's passionate with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and if you just have Mars in the second house.
no, I know. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? It's just it's the 8th house because it's showing what's breaking, what's causing problems in the relationship.
8 from the 7.
It's 8th from the 7th, the second
interesting.
house.
That's
Even if it's just Mars.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice piece of information. Thank you very much.
It's important information to look at.
Very important,
Yeah,
yeah.
very important. Whenever I get even go on a date, I always look at that second house of the Navamsha of that person.
As soon as you meet
So what's
somebody, you say, give me your birth information.
I get their chart some other way, and I make sure I have a look. You know?
So what's the dream like for you for second house in Navamsha? What do you-
If K2's connected, it's all good. As long as Mars and Venus aren't connected to it. Mars connected to it, okay. Venus connected to it, okay. But when they're both connected to it, then you got to be careful. Yeah, because it's just a matter of the right dasha to come for them to cheat.
Unless she was married before.
Yeah, exactly. Then if the person is married before, and that combination is there, then the relationship broke because of illicit relationship. And then that becomes the next house. And then you go the 8th from there, which becomes the 9th house. And the 9th house will show whether the next relationship breaks or not. But that second house will show the general tendency of a person.
So when you go on a date, you have to
But
find
whether
out.
that individual relationship or not breaks is because of the 8th house from it. But the general tendency is very important in a person.
And that's from the ascendant of the Navamsha.
No, from the sun.
From the second house of the Navamsha.
So it's 7th and then
The partner is the 7th, and 8th from the 7th is
7th
the
is,
second.
okay.
Yeah.
So let me just get this straight. So if you go out with somebody, you don't just look at their second. You have to figure out which relationship.
Oh, I look at everything, but you
Yeah,
know, it's all...
but say they've been married
He
twice.
looked at everything.
They've been married twice or something. Then you have to go
You
through.
calculate that more to see that particular
But
relationship.
you'll still look at the second as kind of their general
As
tendency.
their general tendency. Yes. Even with the Upapada, the first Upapada. Like some people don't even look at the first Upapada. Of course you look at the first Upapada. That's their general birth karma with relationship. And then the next Upapada is the specific for that marriage. But that root Upapada is going to show it's the roots of a tree. If the roots of a tree are only planted, if there's only 2 inches of dirt on the sidewalk and a tree grows, how deep can it grow? So
how can you tell, like in a marriage, that if marriage broke because this person was having affairs outside or this person was having, how would that show up?
from that Navamsha, looking at their Navamshas, seeing which one cheated. And there's all kinds of ways with the Upapada and the 7th house and the 8th house from the 7th house, the second house. You can tell whether they knew, like if a person gets remarried, did they know that person before they got divorced? Did they meet that person before they even got divorced? Were they with that person before? It's all there from Upapada in the second house of the Vamsha.
So Upapada, you look at the Upapada and the left and the Navamsha.
When we're talking about, no, Upapada and Rashi. When I talk Aruda Lagna or Upapada, we're talking Rashi.
Do you ever use the Upapada in the Navamsha?
Yeah, but you gotta really understand the Varga charts. All Varga charts use Arudas, but you have to understand, they're used differently. There's different rules. Like for the D4, you're using the A4, you're not using the AL. Your Ruda Lagna is not as important. What's important is the A4 in the D4. And how you look at that. And for example, in the Rashi, the A7 shows lovers as well as business partners. In the But if we want to get closer into like lovers, then we look at the A7 in the Navamsha. But we look at the A7 for business partners in the Dashamsha. And it's showing a different kind of, like for example, the A10 in the Rashi is going to show the boss. But the A10 in the Dashamsha shows the career itself. So you got to really understand what the houses represent in the Vargas in order to understand what is manifesting, what is the image of them. So in general, in this class, whenever I teach, it's whenever I say an Aruda, I always mean in the Rashi. Okay. Because only for real specifics are you using them in Vargas. Okay, so where are we now? Let's go to verse 32 of Parashara.
Effects of the third from Kārakāṁśa. If in the third house from the Kārakāṁśa there is a malefic, it will make the native brave and valorous, while a benefic therein will undoubtedly make him timid.
For Jaimini, go to 1-264.
Malefics in the third indicate courage and valor.
Keep on going.
Benefics in the third indicate cowardice. Malefics? Continue? Yeah.
You go ahead.
Malefics in the third and sixth make a good farmer or one living through agriculture.
Okay. So both of them are saying malefics in the third give courage and valor. Benefics give cowardice. Make a person weak, a pushover. And it's a general rule. And you'll see this from the Rashi Lagna, from Aruda Lagna, from Navamsha Lagna, and from Kārakāṁśa. You'll see it from all those places. So, where is a person a coward? Are they a coward in fulfilling their soul's desires? Are they a coward in applying their abilities? Are they a coward in the way they live in life? Or are they perceived as a coward in how they interact with people? So, we see this from all those points. So, for him to write that for every verse would be how many words? Instead he says swamsha. And that's enough. Okay.
Do you think that we look at the Karaka of that planet, like, because for example, I have this chart of this person that has the moon in the third.
Yeah.
Okay.
From what?
From the Rashi Lagna.
Rashi Lagna. Okay.
And I know this person, when it comes down to any emotional thing, this person will not
get pushy.
Will shy away. This person will not even left the profession because cannot handle any emotional conflict, any emotional thing. Yeah. So it's a form of cowardice there.
It's a form of cowardice.
Right, but because it's the moon, the Karaka nature of emotion. If it was, let's say, Venus or Jupiter, then we will have to apply that Karaka nature to understand it.
And with Mars and Saturn in that case, it becomes, with Mars there, the person is brave, but they're also like, when you get done dealing with them, you feel like they just beat you up. They got their, way, but like Saturn there, it's just like they're just so hard on you. They got their way. But they're the people that make really good salespeople. Right. The people that call you on the telephone that you hang up on 20 times, and they keep calling you. They definitely have malefics, third and sixth from Aruda Lagna and Lagna. That's the only way they can keep doing it.
Right. I have the moon in the third, and I say I last like 2 hours, and I'm just like, hey man, you guys. Good luck, sell your stock, see you later. Have a good life.
So right there. Now, if you notice, Guruji uses this a lot from Aruda Lagna. Parashara tells us everything from Kārakāṁśa we can also see from Aruda Lagna. Everything from Aruda Lagna we can also see from Kārakāṁśa. Very important. Parashara and Jaimini tell us that. So Parashara, our next verse.
Okay, is that effects of the fourth? Okay. Effects of the fourth from Kārakāṁśa. If in the fourth house from the Kārakāṁśa there are Venus and the moon together, or if they aspect this house, or if there are in it exalted planets, the native will have palatial buildings.
Okay. Jaimini 1242.
Moon and Venus joining aspect in the fourth from Swamsha give a palatial residence.
Keep on going.
Exalted planets in fourth will also give a big residential house.
Okay. Same thing, right? Same exact thing. Go ahead, Parashar.
If there is the conjunction of Saturn and Rahu in it, he will have a house made of stones.
Jaimini.
If Saturn and Rahu are in the fourth, stones, rocks, and such material are used.
Parashar.
The presence of Mars and Ketu indicates a house made of bricks, while that of Jupiter one made of wood.
Oh, Mars and Ketu in the fourth indicate use of clay and bricks.
Keep going.
Jupiter in the fourth indicates that the house is made of wood. Sun in the fourth gives a house of thatched straw or grass.
Go ahead, Parashar.
O Brahman, from the presence of the sun, it should be predicted that the house of the native will be of straws and grass. Should I
Okay.
go with the moon?
Not yet. So we see that the fourth house from Swamsha shows our house and what it's made of. I haven't figured this one out yet. Maybe it's in the D4. Because for my Navamsha Lagna, I have Rahu and Saturn. And my house isn't made of stones and rocks. From Kārakāṁśa, it's made of, I have the sun. My house isn't made of straw.
What would be the corresponding?
Of course, somebody's got to figure that one out. Whether you have aluminum siding or brick or something, there has to
be
be
an apartment or own your own house or.
Somebody's got to do research on this one.
Stones would be like concrete.
Stones might be concrete.
Oh
But I don't
yeah,
have a
live in an
concrete
apartment
house.
complex.
Apartment complex.
Or
Somebody
a
has.
tenement house.
And we're guessing here. Somebody's got to do some research.
Mm.
Come up with some guesses and prove it in a few charts. So, but this is definitely one that some leads here. But I haven't been able to apply this one correctly yet. But it's here, and I know it's a matter of how we apply it to make it work. Okay. Now Parashara adds a little something here.
With the moon?
Yeah.
If the moon be in the situation, the native will have union with his wife in an unroofed house.
Now how does that get in there?
Just in the backyard on the deck? Or?
And so he already mentioned Moon and Venus gives palatial residence. So Moon or Venus or both of them, are going to give a nice big, enjoyable house to live in. Now all of a sudden he's talking about like where you're getting it on with your partner. And he's where I've seen this work is in the fourth house of the Drekana, Parashari Drekana, will show where the person first has sexual intercourse.
Really?
Yes.
Is that number 3, third chart?
Drekana, yeah, D3.
D3.
So the fact that this is a rule that works in the D3 makes me question where we're using the ones up top. Like, do we need to look in the D4 for the house and the specifics of the house? Or is the Navamsha Lagna going to show us that, if we interpret it right? So in that way, it's important that we have to apply it properly. Because in my D4, I have exalted Mercury in the fourth. And this house to me is not Rahu and Saturn, which is fourth house of my Navamsha. Right? This is definitely a little bit more like Mercury, an exalted Mercury. With the garden outside.
Yeah.
Okay, Parashara. So one up on Parashara here. So Jaimini throws some extra rules in there, Parashara's throwing some extra rules in there. But basically everything we see is basically the same. So where are we?
Do
30?
you actually read the notes, though? Do you find them valuable in real life? I mean, when you're just
A
studying?
long time ago I used to.
Okay, not anymore.
Not anymore. But his translations are pretty good. So.
Okay. Effects of the fifth of the Kārakāṁśa. If in the fifth house from the Kārakāṁśa there are Rahu and Mars, there is the possibility of the natives suffering from consumption.
So we go 1-91. China.
If Rahu and Mars are in the 4th or 5th from Swamsha, tuberculosis is indicated.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah. If there is an aspect of the moon on them, this possibility will become a certainty.
If the moon also aspects joins the combination, the disease is sure to occur.
O Brahman, the aspects of Mars on this house will cause boils or ulcers on the native's body, and Ketu's aspect on it will cause dysentery or some disease caused by drinking impure water.
Mars along in the 4th...
Alone.
Alone in the 4th, 5th house from Swamsha indicates boils, ulcers, cuts, or gangrene.
Pitta problems.
Ketu in the 4th, 5th house from Swamsha indicates glandular ailments like thyroid or waterborne diseases like dysentery, typhoid, etc.
Jala Roga, diseases caused by water.
Okay. The conjunction of Rahu and Gulika therein will cause fear from mean people and poison.
Rahu and Gulika in the 4th, 5th indicates affliction from dangerous poisons.
Should Mercury be there, the native will either be an ascetic of the highest order or one holding staff.
Go to 98.
Mercury alone in the 5th house indicates an ascetic, member of a religious order, or one who uses a walking stick.
Are these just verbatim or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case the sun be there, he will be bearer of sword. And if Mars be there, a user of spear.
100.
The sun alone in the 5th indicates a swordsman or one who carries a blade. Mars alone in the 5th indicates a lancer or spear wielder.
In the case of Saturn, an archer bearing a bow.
So we go back for Saturn to 96.
Saturn alone in the 5th produces an archer.
Rahu and Ketu, O Brahman, he will be respectively a machinist and a watchmaker.
And that's 99.
Rahu alone in the 5th indicates a metallurgist or
Loha Yantrika. And K2
So
is...
do they have watches?
or it
2000
says heavy engineering.
They're translating as watches. They had things, you know,
They kept time.
they kept time, yeah.
Sundial.
Sundials and that kind of thing.
If Venus be there, the native will be a poet and an eloquent speaker.
105.
Venus in Swamsha or 5th indicates a poet, an eloquent speaker, or a knowledgeable critic.
Same thing, right?
Pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah.
still 5th house. We keep going.
Okay. Should Jupiter and the moon be in the Kārakāṁśa or the 5th therefrom, the native will be an author.
That's 102.
An excellent author is indicated by the presence of Moon and Jupiter in Swamsha or the 5th therefrom.
So a good author is Moon and Jupiter in Swamsha. So Moon and Jupiter make a good author.
Okay. He will be a lesser writer in case Venus be there, and still lesser in the case of Mercury being in the said house.
Okay.
Venus instead of Jupiter in the 5th also indicates an author but of lesser capability. Mercury instead of Jupiter or Venus also indicates an author but with even lesser capability.
So some say lesser capability. Jupiter gives the best, then Venus, then Mercury. But we could also say Jupiter is somebody who's writing about scriptures and that kind of stuff. Where Venus is somebody writing fantasy stories, and Mercury is somebody writing humor-filled things and making light of life, and just writing magazine articles versus writing books. Like I've written tons of magazine articles. I have Mercury in the 5th.
That's 5th of the Navamsha.
No book yet, though. So it's a different, the combination is coming out slightly different.
So more prose for Mercury and more novels or, emotional
I'd say
drama.
it's saying best to least, but I'd look more at the level of a book that's around for the next 100 years versus a book that might just get published and then go out of stock versus a magazine article.
So this isn't about your talent, it's more about...
It'll also be a little bit about talent as well, because whether, maybe because I've only done magazine articles, I'm not as talented. I don't know.
Well, could you modify it according to how the planet's placed in the sign? What sign the planet is in?
Say again?
Well, I mean, depending on how you say, what call you make, what sign the planet's in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll all, as she was saying, the planet, he's even the rules where he says benefics and malefics.
Oh.
He's only giving us the beginning. Then we go in, we look at the planet, we look at the sign. There's a whole story about it. But he's giving us a place to start from. Why is the person a coward? Then you go into it. But he's telling us what makes the coward. He's telling us what makes you an author, a good author. Mm-hmm. Then we start looking at the signs and aspects, and then we can tell what you're writing about, when you're published, and all this kind of thing.
Yeah. I would think that, let's say, if you have an exalted Mercury, and let's say a debilitated Jupiter aspect by malefics, in this case, your Mercury writing would probably be a higher quality than that Jupiter.
Yeah. My magazine articles will be much better than if I write a book.
Well, yeah. So.
I just haven't been able to finish any of my books. I have 3 of them started,
you
but
will.
down the first 30.
You will.
Well, I have Jupiter and Moon together. I'm not an author in the Kārakāṁśa.
It makes a good author. You were the first person to have homework done.
Homework, that's right.
What does that turn into? You were the first one to write your paper to be teaching on.
You see? Amazing.
Kathy just showed me hers today. Sue-Ann just showed me hers today. So look, they were a month behind you. So, you're writing and it's quick.
That's why
it's easy.
Because I think that's why this is more important, because he's talking specifically of the 5th house. It's not in my 5th house. That's the reason. But in that case, he's saying any amsha, or basically swamsha.
We have to, here it's saying somebody who is an author, who that's what they want to do. You throw it into the swamsha itself, and it's somebody who can do it. Are they doing it? Each house, it'll have this effect wherever it is, but how we interpret it will change. All these things have their effect in every house. Whether it's you, it'll have an effect. It can make your wife a writer. If it's in the 3rd house, it can make your wife's guru an author. So, 9th from the 7th. So these play out in multiple ways.
But this is basically saying from the Kārakāṁśa, 5th from the Kārakāṁśa.
Right.
Starting us
5th
off.
from the Kārakāṁśa.
And that's what you were saying?
Yeah.
It's 5th.
5th from
This looks
fifth
to be
from
more
Could be in any
accurate
house. Could be the 12th, as long as it's 5th for them.
from the Kārakāṁśa. But
From
that's what
Kārakāṁśa,
saying any amsha, basically, any
From
swamsha.
swamsha as well. It's from the Navamsha Lagna, from the Kārakāṁśa, from the Aruda Lagna, from the Rashi Lagna, all these points. If it's from the Ghatika Lagna, then that's how the person gets power. Maybe they never do it, but if they did it, they'd get power. So, remember, swamsha means that which shows you.
But between the two, have you found this to be more accurate than that, or
Then what?
than Jamini?
Gemini's saying 5th as well.
No, he's saying any amsha.
No.
He says 1st and 5th.
He says, okay, see.
Yeah.
He says 1st and 5th. Yeah.
1st and 5th?
Yeah. He has Jadamini. You see, the thing is, the way that Parashara is written, or the way that it's translated, it's kind of translated like it's 5th house only. Where the way that Guruji has translated Jadamini, which if you look at the Sanskrit, the writing is very similar. The words they use are very similar. With swamsha, Kārakāṁśa, like they're very similar. But Guruji is translating it from a way that gives a lot more fluidity to the use of it.
So if there's no planets in the fifth, would we look at the Lord of that fifth place?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But we don't look to where it goes for this type of stuff.
Oh, we just say, oh, it's a sign of Mars.
As I was going to say, I'll use the example that I know this one musician who plays stringed instruments. Sun makes you play stringed instruments.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have Sun in the Navamsha Lagna, but Leo was the lord of the Navamsha Lagna.
Oh, that's Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
So where are we here? Jupiter alone in this situation, is that it?
If Jupiter alone is in this situation, he will have all knowledge and be a writer. Be well versed in Veda Vedanta philosophy, but not an orator or a grammarian.
That's Jupiter alone, not Jupiter with the moon. And so we go to 108 there.
However, Jupiter does indicate a grammarian, knowledge of religious scriptures like Vedas, Bible, Quran, and a philosopher and Vedantist.
Like Vedas, Bible, Quran, that's Guruji's insert.
Oh.
Religious scriptures.
Religious scriptures.
Yep. It just literally says Veda, knowledge text.
Got it.
Yeah.
If Mars be there, he will be a logician.
We can
If
read the whole
Mercury, a mimamska,
Mimamsaka.
is that like a mimic?
No, it's a type of science.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or a follower of a mimamska philosophy.
Mimamsaka philosophy, yeah.
Oh, mimamska.
Can you read the whole section?
In case Saturn be in this situation, he will be a dull-witted in the assembly. The sun be there a musician, the moon a follower of Samkhya philosophy, and well-versed in rhetorics and singing, and Ketu or Rahu, an astrologer.
Okay, go for it.
From 109?
Yeah.
Okay. Saturn in the first fifth makes a man nervous in an assembly or a gathering.
So stage fright. Here it just says dull-witted. But I like the translation of nervous state in an assembly. And you'll see that. You'll see that quite often. Go ahead.
Mercury in the first fifth indicates mimamsaka, or involvement in interpretation of texts, available literature, etc. A logician is indicated by Mars in the first and fifth. The moon in the first fifth gives knowledge of the Sankhya and Yoga philosophies besides history, or produces a singer. Huh.
What was that one? Sorry.
That was 112. The sun in the first fifth gives knowledge of the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita.
And up here, Parashara says makes a musician. Jaimini says later that it makes a musician.
And finally it says Ketu in the first and fifth gives mathematical ability.
Ganita. So one more there, Jaimini.
Jupiter joining aspect in the above planets in the first fifth gives all-around knowledge, both traditional and modern, and proficiency in at least one branch.
So Jupiter joining the above planets in the first or fifth gives all-around knowledge, both traditional and modern, and proficiency in at least one branch. It's the word in Sanskrit, sampradaya there. You put somebody in it gives somebody traditional learning. Okay, Parashara. Sixth house.
Okay, effects of the sixth from Kārakāṁśa. Should there be a malefic in the sixth house from a Kārakāṁśa, the native will become an agriculturalist. Should there be a benefic in it, will be indolent. The effect should be understood similar to the above in the case of the third from the Kārakāṁśa.
And what does he say? 66.
66.
You already mentioned this.
It says malefics in the third and sixth make a good farmer or one living through agriculture.
Okay, and as Parashara said, the same as the third house. So when we look at a Ruda Lagna, we always look at third and sixth from a Ruda Lagna. And this is why. Here Parashara says, the sixth house is the same results as the third. Makes a person a coward or makes a person a fighter. So here it's saying that a malefic there, The native will become an agriculturist. The benefic, they'll be indolent. They'll be a coward. They'll be weak.
So indolent, doesn't that mean they're really lazy?
Yeah.
Lazy.
Okay. So Parashara, 47.
The effects of the 7th from Kārakāṁśa, in whose horoscope the moon and Jupiter are in the 7th from the Kārakāṁśa, his wife will be extremely beautiful.
Okay, 57, Pradhamini.
Jupiter or the moon in the 7th house and gives a good-looking spouse.
In case Venus be there, she will be very sensual, and if Mercury, she will be well versed in fine arts.
Go to 62.
Mercury in the 7th indicates a talented spouse conversant in the fine arts.
Should the sun be there, she will confine herself to domestic activities only. While
That's 61.
Does this apply to husbands too?
Yeah, back and forth. But relatively speaking, we have to interpret it accordingly. 61, Jamie.
Sun in the 7th house shows that the spouse is favored and protected by the family.
While the presence of Saturn in the said house will give him a wife older in age than the native, or a pious or sick wife, and that of Rahu will bring him a widow in marriage.
So that's 58 and 59.
Rahu in the 7th brings a widow in marriage. Saturn in the 7th brings an older person in marriage, or the spouse could be religious or poor health.
Okay, so 7th house from Kārakāṁśa, from Swamsha, from Arudha Lagna, from Rashi. It's showing the spouse. And here it's showing us what planets are giving us what type of effects. This you'll see mostly from the Vamsha Lagna, these effects. Mostly from the Vamsha Lagna. Very important.
Effects of 8 from Kārakāṁśa.
Okay.
If the 8th house from the Kārakāṁśa has the conjunction of benefic planet and the 8th lord, it gives long life to the native, whereas the aspect or the conjunction of malefic planet in this situation will make him short-lived.
Keep going, finish it.
The aspect and conjunction of both benefics and malefics will yield him a medium span of life.
So you're 119.
Malefics simultaneously in the 2nd and 8th houses from Lagna, Arudha Lagna, and Swamsha cause Kama, Drama, Yoga, utter poverty.
So here he's saying it's causing poverty. He doesn't talk much about the lifespan. Where Parashara is talking about the lifespan. And Parashara later talks about money. Effects of 9th from Kārakāṁśa.
In case the 9th house from the Kārakāṁśa has the conjunction or aspect of benefic planet, the native will be truthful, devotee of his teachers and elders, and attached to his religion.
And we're looking at 48.
Benefics in the 9th from Swamsha make one righteous, honest, and truthful, faithful, devoted to teachers and elders.
Okay. This you see in the Vamsha, as well as Rashi. This one you can see straight in the Rashi. Benefics in the 9th show somebody who's very respectful to traditions and their teachers. Malefics in the 9th show somebody who's the opposite. So, Guruji always looks, when he takes students, looks at that 9th house. Always looks at that 9th house.
So somebody has
Doesn't
Mars.
Visti
Visti has Rahu in the 9th.
Yeah, but it's Atmakaraka.
Oh, that's...
So that changes the situation.
Oh, okay.
But still it'll cause problems during some dashas.
So does a benefic and a malefic sign, what is that? Is that a mixed bag?
It's still a benefic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the planet's going to take predominance there.
And then if it's a malefic in its own sign, then what happens in that case?
It's not as bad.
Is it a benefit? Or?
No.
Okay.
It's still a malefic there. And it'll still give some disrespect to the tradition and to the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about aspects to the 9th?
Not as much, but it will affect it, yes. And again, relative to the Karaka, Rahu's the worst, most disrespectful. Saturn is, again, Mars, they always fight with the teachers. So, we take the Karaka as well. This is giving us the general rule to start from.
Would Saturn be just sort of like questioning and obstructive to the teacher?
Could say that. Rahu's the worst. Put it that way.
Want to take over their teaching and
just doubting, complaining, fighting. Just Rahu in the ninth is really the toughest for the teacher, especially of traditional knowledge. And it's not that it's not possible for people with Rahu in the ninth to learn. It's just they're poor teacher. They doubt, they question, and they do it in a disrespectful way. So let's keep on going here. If in the ninth.
If in the ninth house from the Kārakāṁśa there is the situation or aspect of the malefic, the native will be a devotee of his religion in childhood, but will be given to falsehood in his old age. Should we keep going?
No.
It's got a little colon there.
Yeah. Go ahead and read 49.
49?
Yeah.
Benefics in the ninth from Swamsha. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Malefics associated with the ninth produce the opposite qualities like dishonesty, faithlessness, and unrighteousness.
If there is the conjunction or aspect of Saturn and Rahu in the ninth house from the Kārakāṁśa, the native will be a betrayer of his elders and teachers and be averse to the ancient classics.
Go ahead, 50.
50. If Saturn and Rahu are in the ninth house, the native betrays his elders and preceptors.
If from the Kārakāṁśa in the ninth house there is the conjunction or aspect of Jupiter and the Sun, then also the native will be a betrayer of his teachers and elders and not obey them.
Okay, now 51 of Jaimini. This is a conflict here.
If the Sun and Jupiter are in the ninth house, the native is a confidant or faithful of his elders and teachers.
So Jaimini, this is a matter of translation here. And Guruji translated as Jupiter and Sun make one faithful. And if you look for the opening verse, it says benefics make a person trustful and a devotee of the teachers. So if we go by the logic of the first two verses of both Parashara and Jaimini, then Jupiter and Sun should make someone a good student and good to their teachers. And so this is a mistranslation, to say the opposite.
Does that also apply to Rashi and all that stuff, or no?
This is mostly in Rashi.
This is in
When I see this, the effects of this, I see the effects primarily in the Rashi. I haven't seen the slightly from the Vamsha Lagna, rarely from Kārakāṁśa Lagna. This is because this is what the person is actually doing. I mean, they might doubt the teacher on a soul level. They might have an ability in themselves to question the teachings, but what do they end up doing is what matters. And whether they're respectful or not to the teachers is the Rashi. So this is primarily this rule, even though it's saying Kārakāṁśa here, it's Swamsha. And the main place we're seeing this, them actually doing something of this nature, is from the Rashi. Okay.
If in the above situation there is the conjunction or aspect of Venus and Mars, and also there is the combination of these in the Shadavargas, etc., a woman related to the native will die.
Keep going.
O Brahman, if in the ninth house from the Kārakāṁśa there is the conjunction or aspect of Mars and the moon, the native will certainly be a prisoner due to his association with another's woman. If in the ninth house from the Kārakāṁśa there is a situation or aspect of Jupiter only, the native will be addicted to women and will be given to sensual pleasures.
Now, this is one place where Jaimini and Parashara say different things. Read 1 to 67.
Jupiter in the ninth indicates a big landlord or a distinguished personality.
Very different.
Yeah.
Gemini says it makes him a big landlord. This is all talking about crazy adulterous relationships and things of that nature.
One of those salesmen. Don't let him answer it.
Yeah, one of Mars in the third house.
I have
Hey,
one.
Bill.
Hi, Freedom. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, we're in the middle of class, but
Okay.
you're welcome to come and stay a little bit, you know.
Okay, that sounds good.